Okay, so before I take up this 8 weekends, this is the first weekend, and it's also cut short by 1 hour almost, like it. So what I will do, I will just give you an overview of the roadmap of what we are going to have. So today we will have a bit of short introduction to DevOps because we are almost 1 hour less. The next week we are going to it will be the cloud computing on AWS. So the third week will be on Terraform. Fourth week will be on, just 1 minute. Fourth week will be on Ansible. And the program will continue the next week. I mean, the program 2. It will be the fifth week with Docker containerization. And then on the sixth week, we will have 2 weeks of Kubernetes because Kubernetes cannot be covered over just 2 hours. Okay, so it will be covered over 2 weeks, sixth week and the seventh week. And on the very last week, we will have Azure DevOps, which is a CI/CD pipeline, and we will try to cover it in 1 week. But if not, then we will extend it for another week. Is that fine? So it may be for 9 weeks. This thing maybe 9 weeks or 10 weeks. It depends on how we cover. Any questions? Please let me know. It should be very interactive. If not, then we will switch over to our introduction to DevOps and this thing. So this is a very famous picture. I will rush through my slides. Just let me know if you are fine with this. Everyone is able to hear me and the screen is visible.
Yes.
Good day. Can I speak, please?
Yes, yes, yes.
Please, is it possible for us to have this schedule in our, maybe on WhatsApp or on our email addresses? I wouldn't mind having this. It will help, it will guide me.
So for that, you need to register on our website. Everything is in
I'm on
that.
the WhatsApp group. I'm on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah. So in the WhatsApp group, you will find this particular course registration link. It is free.
Oh, I
Again,
mean,
you
this
just need to.
PowerPoint, I appreciate it there. Thank you.
Yeah. For this
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
In fact, yes, what Mr. Menon is trying to say is that if you are a registered user, if you have registered with our Kalkey site, okay, you are going to open up a plethora of all these information. So all these things, what we are displaying it over the screen now as a PPT, all the contents will be there in our site. Okay, please register with us.
Because to make it sure that to stop the plagiarism, we cannot share this thing on individual people's email ID.
Okay, so I will brush up. I will just go quickly a bit on this. Is that you see on the left hand side there are two phases. The left hand side is the development team working on this plan, code, build, and test. Okay, and on the right hand side, this is a common area where there will be a release phase, but the deploy, operate, monitor, this is the part mainly focused with operations team. So with this background, let me do it in a bigger screen. Okay, so having said that, we will now move on to there is the SDLC, the software development lifecycle. These are very uh, overused topics, so everyone might be knowing about it. So software development lifecycle is the acronym for the software development lifecycle, SDLC. Uh, so in this you have the 5 stages: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stages. So planning, where you start the planning for developing your product. You define the product because uh, you know Planning is not sufficient. You have to, planning is where you gather the requirements, uh, analyze the requirements, analyze the requirements, then convert the business functions, convert the requirement into business functions. And then after you have converted to the business functions, you define those business function into uh, somewhat technical functions. Okay, because finally you have to deliver a software product. And these technical functions once designed, now there will be BAs, business analyst, who knows the business part and who knows with the help of solution architects, you will convert them to technical functions, because business is a very non-technical business requirements that has to be converted to somewhat technical. So that is called digitalization. You are digitalizing the particular business functions into technical functions. Technical functions, here there will be UML diagrams. These diagrams, or there are lots of other diagrams as well, okay, sensitivity diagrams, and there are so many other diagrams sort of. They will combine to convert these technical functions into some where the developers will now, these are the design documents, DSDs, okay? And these DSDs will flow down to the development team. They will convert these DSDs into functional endpoints, functional points. There will be estimations and lots of other things will come into this phase. And this will be modularized. That is, the UML diagrams will give you the basic architecture, and this will be converted into code blocks. Maybe the features. You are building up the entire story into small features. Okay, chapters. All these various chapters will constitute one big story. Now, this is not enough. You have to go for a testing. The testing can be unit testing as well as followed by system integration testing. We have the testing team, and the testing team is under the operations team. Testing team is under operations team. Operations team will be, actually there are two parts. The QA. Under the QA, quality assurance, you will have the testing team. And the service team. Each of these will be headed by one manager: QA manager, test manager, service managers. But operations are the backbone. If you thought developers are the backbone of a company, you are very, very wrong. The backbone of any service-oriented organization or a project-based companies. So they are the vendors for most of their clients, and those they are the backbones, the operations, because they are the people who will manage, maintain, monitor, and govern the entire infrastructure. Infrastructure can be what? What are the infrastructures? It can be servers. It can be servers. It can be security devices or whatever, network. So, storage, whatever the infrastructure demands. Okay, everything will be maintained by the production boxes. Servers will consist of development boxes. Your test boxes, pre-production boxes. Boxes means the servers and the production server. Everything will be managed and maintained by operations team. So they are the backbone, as we can say. So after there is an approval process, it will be passing, we will be deploying it to either development bed for the further thing, I mean further release, or to the testing for higher testing for UATs in pre-production, or we can go for production deployment. So this is the deployment part, and this will be in cycle. This will be in cycle because there, after you have put that into production, there can be again some issues. Those issues will be coming to the project team. Project team will again start planning, defining. Entire cycle will continue again until and unless you find that your product is almost 99.99% foolproof. I'm taking out that 0.1% because nothing, no system can be perfect. No system can be 100% perfect. Any questions? So we move on to the SDLC model, which have two parts, the waterfall model and the SDLC, I mean the agile model. So I will not go into too much details of this, but this is one of the blue-eyed boy used to be boy for project management. So if you are a project manager, you will always go for a something like a waterfall model, because project managers do not dislike, because the project managers are non-existent. They are not required. So for their survival, PMs will always go for something. They will try to motivate the management to go for a waterfall model of delivering the delivering the software, but they are not required in agile model. Okay, because this is what the customers want. 70% of the projects will fail if you are following the waterfall model, you know. So let us, it is a very cliched type of a discussion because it is discussed over and over again. I will not go into too much of details. So this is the waterfall model. You can see staircases coming down with the assumption that everything will be fine. Everything will be falling into that happy path, happy planning. But it is not so. Waterfall models fail. Waterfall models are good, but they fail because of assumption that each gate, exit gate, will move forward to the next gate, with 100% conviction. This assumption is the culprit, because you cannot assume that when you move from requirements to the design, you have frozen the requirements. There will be, for 1 year project, let's say this is a 1 year project, there won't be any changes in the requirement. Can you think of it? For a 1 year project, the customer's test gets changed every now and then. It is unlike earlier days, 20 years back, when the customers were happy and continue with the single product. Okay, now every day they want something else. They want something which is, having some novelties, some new things into it. So it is very difficult and it is unjustified to freeze the requirement. But that is the, you know, the tragedy, the irony, that you cannot proceed to the design gate without freezing the requirements. And you can see that these requirements will not change for coming 1 year. That is one drawback. one drawback, that this is the frozen one. Now you come to the design. So design, that means you are involving the BAs and the solution architect and everyone. So this is also coming to the development after the UMLs and whatever the sensitivity diagrams are done. You will come to the development. For each stage, you will have approvals. Who is approving this? Anybody? Who is approving that it can go forward to the next phase in a stepwise? Who is approving this? Any idea?
PMO.
PMO is one of the good answers, but PMO belongs to the vendor. Project Management Office belongs to the vendor. Here, the vendor is who is delivering the product. The client. Client has to approve the movement. So the client involvement is into the entire cycle is only at the gates. At the gates. When there is a requirement to move from one gate to the other gate. Okay, the client is involved. Otherwise, the entire cycle, there is no involvement of the client. This is an important stakeholder, you can understand, because they are the sponsors of the project. And you are designing a project, you are delivering a project without the client involvement and each and every step, but only during the milestones. That is not good. But that is how waterfall model is designed. So with the approvals, because there are lots of documentations, because how the client is not going to see your development, or they are not aware of what you are doing on the code level or design level. They are only concerned with the documentation. They will go through the documentation and they will approve or reject. Generally, they will approve because they are not technical. They will approve, and they has a good faith that, okay, the project has been given to them, like a project has been given to IBM. IBM is the vendor and they are a very trustworthy. But IBM fails 70% of the projects in Waterfall. That is a statistics. That is a fact which cannot be denied. 70% failure. Can you believe? They pay a huge amount of money to the PMs, to the team delivering the product, but the failure is 70%. It is not because it is a failure from their side. It is because how it is structured. It is like this is a bureaucratic process. And can you believe that the testing team is starting a work only after the development has done the entire development, not only one or two features. They have developed hundreds, all the features. When the development is 100% complete, this will come to the testing. And by that time, almost 9 months have passed out of 1 year. So can I say that we are achieving late failures? This design or this structure is encouraging late failures. If you fail late, suppose you have failed at this stage, almost out of the 100 features, almost your 30 features failed. 30 features failed. So these 30 features are very important. 30% of your delivery has failed. It will again go back to the design because you cannot change the requirement at this stage. Design, again it will be coming to the development. Again it will be testing. So the valuable 9 months have already passed. So that way, even after you have done this, so there will be another 1 month. Maybe the testing completes. Everything is fine. Testing team thinks so. And it will now come to the deployment. So it is deployed to the pre-production. Pre-production, it is a simulated production environment. And there will be, who is sitting on this? So SIT has been done. System integration testing has been done. This is a very important stage, UAT. Who is going to do the UAT, user acceptance testing?
Client.
You are the sorry,
The
who is
users,
going
the
to
client.
the client? Very good. Now clients are a different ball game. They do not know what you have done, how many nights you have spent, overnights you have done, over hours you have worked. Doesn't matter. They just can pick up the things that are not visible to the testing team or to the development team or to the design team. They are they are champions of getting something wrong from anywhere. You cannot believe how good they are in picking up the defects. So it is generally accepted fact that if you have done 100% testing, your at least 3 or 4 defects will be raised at this level. And these defects are, I mean, it is very, very difficult to handle these defects because they are coming from the client. You have to do it. Again, you are going back to the design level. Some misunderstanding, some understanding. Uh, there was some gap in the understanding. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is you have almost consumed the entire 1 year, and still you have not yet made the client happy with all the, I mean, corrections and everything. So they consider that this project is a failure because you see, this is a golden triangle of project management: the cost, the time, and the quality. Any of these 3 parameters going wrong, the project is a failure. So if it is not within the budget, it's a failure. If it is not within the time schedule, it is a failure. If the quality is not up to the expectation, it is a failure. If your C and T is fine, but your Q is not up to the expected level, it is a failure. You will be charged huge penalty. So there is a lot of a story behind. There are SLAs and everything. So what we do is we understood this. We have to just cut it short. uh, we will go to this. So therefore, there was a need for breaking down the entire development or the entire product into small features and put it under the sprint releases. Instead of targeting 1 year, what you do, you target 2 weeks and pick up from a prioritized backlog. So there will be a backlog bucket. There will be a bucket, and that bucket will be governed by whom? This is an agile methodology. So the this will be the bucket will be managed and maintained by business owner. Who is business owner? Is he from the client or the vendor?
Client.
Client. So you see, you are involving the client every day. There is a stand-up call, 15 minutes stand-up call, stand-up call every day. And they won't waste too much of time on meetings. Whereas in the waterfall model, there used to be 2 hours meeting every day, which is a waste, which is waste. No purpose. Everybody is shouting at each other. There is no purpose. Here, nobody is pointing fingers to the other guy. Everyone is only because they are a small team, small agile team. They will consist of between 7 to 9. That is the ideal team composition members. So if your team is small, it is very, very, and everyone is the owner. Everyone is the owner of the project. There is no project manager, no PM, no documentation or minimum documentation. Your focus is on delivery. No documentation, almost nil. no PM, therefore no documentation, no somebody, no one is dictating your work. Nobody is micromanaging you. You are the manager of the team. So everyone, all the 7 and 9 members are the managers, and they are all in all. They will take decisions. That is a team. You are in a very democratic setup. There is no autocracy. Everyone can decide. Nobody will point fingers to others. So 15 minutes is actually like a 2-hour meeting. It is so effective, but it's only 15 minutes. Okay, they will decide on 3 points. What happened? What did you do yesterday? What are the issues that you encountered? What has been done about those issues? Second is, what are you going to do today? Okay, and the business owner will ask, what are the resources that you need from my end? I will arrange that. So the resource manager, so the business owner and the scrum master, maybe there is a scrum master. Okay, Scrum. Anybody has any idea what is Scrum?
It's a type of sprint, agile methodology.
Yeah, that is fine. But what is Scrum in the actual term? What do you mean by Scrum? Have you ever followed rugby?
Yeah,
In the rugby, when in the center of the field, when all the players they are in a scrum, you know, everybody is holding each other's shoulders, and they are looking at one goal, one rugby ball. Sorry, rugby ball is not oval; it is oval sort of. This is a rugby ball. Okay, so their objective is to this is the goal. So that is a scrum. Scrum means a team. Everybody, that 7 to 9 members are the scrum team, and there is a scrum master. You do not say he is a PM. He is basically a servant leader. These are the terms of agile. Servant leader, why servant leader? Because you are not going to dictate anything. You are not going to manage anything. You are just a bridge between the business owner and the team. You will just bridge between this and this. Got it? So Master should be a guy who is just a coordinator or a facilitator. Facilitator. Okay? He does not do anything. He does not try to understand what you are doing and what you are not doing, what you are not going to do or what you are going to do. Nothing. Do's and don'ts. No, nothing will come from him. It is the team who will take a decision, because the team is responsible to the business owner, and the business owner is responsible to the maybe the client project manager. Okay, so every day the business owner is a stakeholder who is taking a keen interest into the project. So you can say the success of this is almost 95%. And yes, it is true. When IBM graduated from waterfall model to agile model of delivering the products, software product, the success rate, the failure rate reduced, okay, to 5% from 70%. Can you see the difference? Yes, agile is not good for a very, very uh, complex project. So in that case, what you do for a complex project, you will do a hybrid model. Hybrid model is a model which some part you will do with the agile model and some part you will do with the waterfall model. Okay. Agile model has a lot of advantages. Uh, we are fine. So now, why did we discuss about agile model? Okay, because agile and DevOps are synonymous. Now that this is a egg and hen story. It is like DevOps or agile. Which came first? There is no answer to it. So we can say they complement each other. They complement each other. Without agile, there is no DevOps. Without DevOps, there is no agile. So agile methodology is only possible with the DevOps tools. DevOps is not a tool. DevOps is a methodology. And DevOps tools, implementing DevOps within an organization, is going to be implemented through or delivered through agile project. So any project in a organization who is a projecticized organization will go for agile methodology, which therefore to implement agile methodology, you cannot follow a waterfall model with the DevOps tools. You have to follow agile methodology with the DevOps tools. And DevOps tools will you adopt this because you want automation. Okay? You want automation. And automation cannot be achieved just simply by doing some hard scripting or coding. You say, I will write Python script instead of Python code, and my objective is resolved. I can do automation. No. Python script, yes, you will do, but you will do within a tool, maybe a CI/CD pipeline tool, where you can go for Python scripting to design or to develop the pipeline, the automation pipeline. Once you have done the pipeline, you have automated many a process in the SDLC, software development lifecycle. Many processes you have automated. But I do not know, I have no knowledge of Python, so I will use shell or bash scripting, which is easier to learn and easier to implement. Okay, so there are many stories about it. If you want to do something programmatically, you can go for Groovy. But most of the DevOps tools can generate that Groovy code for you or the Python script for you. So you have to have plugins, and which is very implemented in Jenkins. Jenkins is a thing. But in Azure DevOps and in GitLab, which are far, I mean, advanced in comparison to Jenkins, you will just make your life simple. You will be using shell most of the time. If anything programmatically is needed, there are enough services within Azure DevOps or GitLab which will help you, to generate those code snippets. So what I mean to say is, automation being the buzzword, we come to use DevOps tool. Now, the developers and operations were working in silos. Do you agree? They are isolated. Isolation. Isolation is a good part, but it is not good when we consider it as one team. They are not one team. They are separated. They are working in silos. This guy doesn't know what operations team is expecting or doing, and this guy does not know what will come from the developers. How will they coordinate? So there is always a firefighting. Okay. Uh, yeah, this will continue. The developer used to run the code on his system and then forward it to, because there is a myth called ego. These guys are experienced and they think they are mm, indispensable, or rather, the company does not run without them. So they have a lot of ego, and because they are innovators, they are innovators. They innovate a lot of new things, new code, new designs, and everything. So they satisfy a lot of ego. Whereas operations guys are down to earth. Rather, they cannot bring up their head out of their work. They are so much work pressed. They are pressed a lot. So they cannot develop themselves into other areas. They cannot spread their knowledge. They have to keep on doing the same thing, a repetitive work again and again. So there is a very less room to develop themselves as as an employee. They are restricted to their own very repetitive field of work, but they are very important work they are doing. So whatever delivery they do over here, they think it is foolproof. And these guys, they do not accept, because something is running very fine. This is the server they are maintaining, the production server. Okay, everything is running fine. Why should they take something which can destabilize, which can damage the running system? So they grow a resistance to any change. It is very natural resistance to change, because if something happens on the production box or pre-production box, or the basically the production box, who is responsible? The client, the client, the danger man is only interacting with the operations guy. They are far away from the developers. So why should they face the music? They think I should not accept anything if it is going to, even if there is a small turbulence on this, this is because of them putting something in. So they will not allow any garbage. To disallow any garbage coming in, they have to employ or deploy some systems which can make them understand that there is no defects. Absolutely fine. So they will have a very strong testing team, testing tools, and they will try to discard even if the slightest of percentage of errors. There is no room for any error. But when they send it back to the developers, they don't accept. These guys don't accept. They say that it is not my mistake. It must be an environment mistake from your end. You please check your environment, because everything is running very fine at my end. Okay. So there is always a lot of contention. Bone of contention is the ego. And they say it's not my fault. So this will lead to a lot of back and forth between the developer and the operations team. So it will impact a lot the efficiency, the project timelines, the project cost. Everything goes up. It is out of management. It is unmanageable, because this is a daily activity, and the project managers and the test managers and the service managers and the program managers get frustrated. This is a daily activity. So came the DevOps guys. Now you are coming with a solution to them. You have pitched in. This is DevOps with their own methodology, with their own tools. For each of these phases, they have tools. They have DevOps tools. Each will have a tool. Everything will have a tool. Now these tools are tested, proven, stable. Okay. So when the testing team through their tools, DevOps tools, will test a product coming from the developers. They will can easily find bugs and can give it back to them. Now, do you think that the developers, however ego they might have, can they reject this call? Because they will get a detailed report, even they will get which line of the code is having a problem. That level, that micro level, they will get a report. So now they cannot deny. However, because you will never find a fault with your product, because that is the human tendency. But now they cannot, because the tool cannot say lies. Tool does not lie. So what it is gradually happening that the bridge between the gap between this two teams are now getting bridged. And you are the person who is bringing that bridge, who is constructing that bridge between the developers and the operations. So DevOps guys plays a vital role. Okay. Any questions so far? So definitely you will understand that uh, the word DevOps is a combination of two words, development and operations, and they are very important to organizations spinning up the delivery of the applications and services to the client. That is a necessary part, that you bring them together through your DevOps tools. And these DevOps tools are definitely your knowledge area, not developers, neither it is IT operations. So you are very much in demand. So this is a definition from Amazon. I'm not saying that is a combination of cultural philosophy, practices, and tools. It has actually there was an upheaval of the culture of uh, the teams working together or not working together. This culture was entirely changed when it is Amazon is saying it is a combination of cultural philosophies, practices, and tools that increase an organization's stability, ability to deliver applications and service at a high velocity, evolving and improving products at a faster pace than organizations using traditional software development and infrastructure management processes. This speed enables organizations to better serve their customers and complete more effective in the market. So this is from Amazon, you see. And according to Microsoft, DevOps combines development and operations to unite people. See, they are not talking about software, anything. This is to unite the culture of two different people. Okay, unite people, processes, and technology in application. So it is actually a cultural revolution that was brought about with DevOps. So you have development, testing, integration, deployment, monitoring. Each of these phases will have the DevOps tools to speed it up, to, the main objective is to fail early. What was the main problem with the waterfall model? It was failing late. I need to fail early to correct myself very early stage, correct early, make it defect free from the beginning, and deploy a quality product. Okay, because you have to think of the future. It is not that today you delivered a product which is not having any problems, but in future there can be problems creeping up, and there are tools which can predict whether you're within a year or within 6 months or within 3 months, whether this is some issues that are going to come. And those tools are called, you can say, Sonar Cube, one of the very important tools, Sonar Cube, which will have the code quality and validation of the code will be done through the Sonar Cube. So basically, you will do the correct testing, the development, integration, deployment, and monitoring all through the tools. So it is a fantastic way to make the DevOps principles are very, very customer-centric actions, end-to-end responsibility, continuous improvement, automate everything if possible. See, automation is nice to hear and nice to do, but sometimes something must be left manual. Do not try to make 100% automation. And it is not me, I am saying, it is uh, the software pundits and the process gurus are saying that you must leave some part of it manual, but try to achieve most of the repetitive processes which are going to native, which are repeated and this thing. So try to automate them, but leave few of the things manual, like most of the bad jobs. You do not include them in your automation pipelines. That is the principle. You must run them in a cron job or a manual scheduler. You will run them manually, but don't include the bad jobs within the automation pipeline. Work as one team. This is very, very important. Monitor and test everything. Do not leave anything for any chances. No scope of leaving anything to chance. That do not assume that it will run fine, anything to chance. You test it properly. Do not, even if it is, and monitor it. Monitoring is very, very important. Now I will come back. I will come to the tools because I do not have much time left. So what I will do, if possible, if it is not completed today, don't worry. We will continue the next day, the next weekend. So, uh, so why do we need DevOps? Because we can predict. It can lower the failure rate with very new releases. Product reproducibility for the version control. We can version it from the very early stage. Maintainability, time to the market. It can be reduced time to the market by 50%. So you have quantified your delivery. You can be faster by 50% more than earlier. Cost efficiency, because you are using a tested, proven tool. So your manual effort, the number of hours, you are reducing the time to deliver, time to work. So what happens is time is money, you know. So you are reducing the time of effort. And once you are reducing this, you are cutting on the cost. You are cutting, so minus, you are cutting on the cost. That is effective cost efficiency. Hello, am I still audible and still visible?
Yes.
Great, great. Thank you. So, this is, you can go through that traditional IT versus DevOps. Of course, it is less productive, more productive, skill-centric team you need. But here is the team is divided into specialized silos, more time invested in planning, smaller and frequent releases. So that is sprint releases. Difficult to achieve the target or the goal because the most of the time it is a failure. Frequent releases with continuous feedback makes achieving targets easy. Yes, I would like to come to this part. Here, we are, it is said that if you can master 20 tools, more or less 20 DevOps tools, you are a master, you are a champion of DevOps. There will be a lot of companies looking for you. But we found from our market research and study with our marketing team that the industry requires at least a knowledge on these few tools to start with. Like this is Terraform, is a DevOps tool. Okay, Terraform. This is a build tool, Maven. There is Gradle, but Maven is much more popular. Okay, this is Git. Git. So a technology, we are going to learn each and every part in our actually the paid course. We are going to learn in depth on each of these tools. So version control, we need to have this for the coders. Okay. Then the container management, we will learn Docker. We will also learn container orchestration tool called Kubernetes. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is Vagrant, but we will learn during the time we learn Kubernetes. Vagrant. Performance monitoring, application monitoring, and all those stuff. This is mostly for operations team. These poor guys need to use tools because they are they day in and day out. They are doing some manual operations and this and thing every time. But so if you have a very good tool on monitoring, your work is cut down. So basically, these tools are performance monitoring and all those things. Uh, they will be done by like the Prometheus. Very good tool for the operations guy who are actually in the operations team to learn. But as a DevOps guy, the more and more tools you handle or learn is better. But for the timing, you do not need to learn Nagios. This is Nagios. Okay. Uh, Initially, we had Nagios in our course, but generally the total course duration was almost like 3 months if we had included them. But generally, the tendency of our students is to, and because they have to quickly go into the job market, so we have reduced it to 2 months. So we have to take out all this learning from the course because these monitoring tools are very important for operations guys, as I told you, not for a general DevOps guy at the very beginning. In the very beginning, here we are as a configuration management tool. We are going to learn Ansible. Very important. Ansible. There is Chef. There is Puppet, but we are not going to learn because see, for each domain, this is one domain. Under this domain, you need to learn at least one tool. Okay, so we are learning Ansible is most popular there. So we will learning that. And coming to this automation, deployment automation, that is the CI/CD, we are going to learn this one. This Jenkins was good earlier, but now it is falling behind because this GitLab and Azure DevOps, this is Azure DevOps, has captured the market, mostly Azure DevOps. GitLab is almost comparable, but we used to teach GitLab and Jenkins. After Jenkins, we had introduced GitLab to our students. Then we have shifted over to Azure DevOps. Okay, this is the integrator or the deployment and delivery tool. So this is for automation pipelines. automation pipelines, and we are learning this. So how many tools did we do? Testing is mostly for the testing. This is a Selenium and the J unit. Okay. Uh, Mockito, X unit, J unit. There are lots of tools. Lots of this is Selenium. But we are not going to learn this testing tools because this is one domain which has been vastly impacted by, negatively impacted by whom? You know, these poor guys are out of the market. Because of whom?
DevOps engineer. AI.
AI. DevOps engineer is not affected, but the testing guys is mostly important, impacted because now you can basically do with autopilot within Selenium. You can mostly design your test cases and execute the test cases automatically without the intervention of a test manager or a testing team. Yes, but big organizations will still have a testing team because there can be number of parallel projects, lots of parallel projects together, and it's better to go for a, yeah, the testing team size has reduced considerably because the impact of AI. So continuous monitoring, like you have the Nagios, and there are other tools, Prometheus, and you know there is a very but there are few costly tools as well. They are very costly. So otherwise, with this continuous monitoring is a boon for this operations guy. So what we are ending up is saying that uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 7 is the tool number of tools. If we are learning 7 tools in DevOps, we are absolutely wonderful. But again, I'm saying these tools are fantastic tools. They are proven tools, but you have to learn the tools in depth, and your knowledge, your skill has to be perfect. Fantastic tools. So again, as Mr. Menon was saying, that you have to develop your skills. So and we are almost done, or maybe few of the slides are remaining. So I will do this. I mean, 5 or 6 slides are still remaining. I can go through them today, but I will not on a Saturday evening or a morning. I don't want to do that. That will be some sort of a torture to you. So let me end the session over here. But remember, I will start next weekend from this particular slide. Vivin, you were asking something.
Hi, thank you so much for this session. Actually, my question is about that Azure. So you show this Azure, right?
Azure
So
DevOps.
yeah, no, yeah, Azure DevOps. So earlier we used to learn this AWS, right? AWS was number one in cloud. So now you're saying Azure. What is Azure then?
Okay, not
Now you.
no, we are not. See, we will go through that. We have a session at the very end. We have a session, 2 sessions maybe, probably the 8th session and the 9th session. We will deal with the Azure DevOps. So we can park the question from till that point. But yes, it is too long a time. So what I can say is, you know, Azure is the cloud. Azure portal. We say Azure portal that is coming from Microsoft. Azure DevOps is the actually another tool coming out of Azure from the same house, Azure, which is Azure Cloud. Uh, that is a CI/CD pipeline tool. Azure DevOps, many people have this confusion. Azure and Azure DevOps are two different things. Azure is the cloud, which you can compare with AWS. In our course, generally we go with AWS. But you get a bit of flair of Azure when you learn about Azure DevOps. But actually, we are going to learn, instead of GitLab or Jenkins, we are going to learn Azure DevOps, which is a CI/CD pipeline tool, automation tool, which is not actually a cloud. Yes, we will go through the resource groups of Azure, which is just we will touch upon those facts. But actually, see, as I told you, in a domain like cloud is one domain, you will learn Azure, as you will learn AWS. So learning one technology is more than enough. So if you don't have to learn Azure as well as AWS as well as GCP, Google Cloud. No, just learn one and the most popular ones. Okay, the concept remains the same. It is not in our scope. It is not possible to learn all the tools. And see, this Azure, this cloud, and Linux, these are not DevOps tools. But Azure DevOps, GitLab, Jenkins, these are DevOps tools. Azure, AWS, these are GCP, they are cloud tools. Cloud tool is not a part of DevOps tools. Many people have a concept think that they are also a tool. No, cloud is a technology. Okay, and cloud, without learning cloud and Linux, the operating system, you cannot step into DevOps. So many things. Like for learning DevSecOps, you must be very good in your DevOps. See, people often do a mistake. They directly jump over to learning cybersecurity. Yes, it is. Yeah, one can easily from any domain they can jump into and learn cybersecurity. But when the industry is gradually moving towards DevSecOps, and where you need to have, if you are not build, you are not being able to understand the assets that were built through DevOps, how will you provide a security to them? So better, so the company will always prefer a guy who knows DevOps tools or DevOps assets or resources quite well, and also know DevSecOps and cybersecurity, will get a higher preference than a person who knows cybersecurity but not very confident on the DevOps tools. Okay, so cloud, which is AWS, which is Azure, which is GCP, which is Oracle, which is IBM clouds, are not in comparison with GitLab or Azure DevOps or Jenkins. Got it? We will see, give us some time. This is just the beginning. We will, I'm very happy that at least you are coming up with questions, making it interactive. Thank you very much for that. But we will gradually have all these concepts very, very, very clear. Give us some time, have some patience, and keep in touch with us. Surely, we will not. You will be very happy to be with us. Thank you.